And it was interesting because, you know, every time there was something that was happening and the Soviets did something else or whatever, the first group of people to go on demonstrations were these people from this parish. And of course, we kids went along as well. And how that influenced me, you know, I went to university at McGill. I studied history. And part of that is because I was fascinated, not fascinated, it was an emptiness. I couldn't put the pieces together as to what happened. My father always I felt his pain in a very indirect way. He would not talk about it. He was a very quiet and peaceful man who dealt with his trauma in a way of trying not to project it on others, but internalizing it. But I felt his pain. And when I used to ask him, I said, Tatu, why don't you tell me about what happened to you? And I was only 7, 8 years old. He would say, to be netreba, you don't need to know these things. You know, you're just lucky that you never had to experience this, and I don't want you to experience it. But he used to speak to our adopted grandfather. We had the family that brought us over from Germany. They used to talk together, and they used to come to the, you know, they'd come into the kitchen, they'd have a few drinks, they'd sit down, and they would discuss the past. And of course, I would sit in the corner and listen. Or I would sit under the table and listen as a kid. And they'd say, well, get lost, you don't need this. But I would come back. I needed to know. I felt this need. It was almost like a compulsion. I have to find out. And that led me to history. I loved history. It was my favorite subject at school. I excelled in it. When I graduated, I had one of the highest mark in the school in history, which I was pleased with. So when I went to university, it was a natural fit for me to study history. And so that's what I studied at McGill.